The last time we reviewed the Mercedes-AMG C43, we summarized by saying it's a great car to drive. However, we weren't sure whether it justifies the premium it commands over its chief rival.
The M340i has been absolutely dominating the segment of the super sedan under 1 crore, and it's going to take a lot to take this down.
Today we have both these cars and we have a racetrack all to ourselves. Let's find out which is better. With access to the country's newest racetrack, CoASTT, located in Coimbatore, we decided to do things a little differently this time. Instead of comparing these two cars on their daily merit, we drag race them and then hand them over to India's first Formula 1 driver, Narain Kartikeyan, to set some hot laps and tell us which is quicker. But first, we jump into the BMW M340i for a quick drive impression. Finally, I'm reacquainted with this 3-litre turbo petrol engine and wow!
Such a gem, 6-cylinder, straight 6, and just sounds glorious. Oh, this sound.
I mean, it just can't get any better than this, can it?
It doesn't. I mean, very few cars, especially with a 6-cylinder, sound is good. But what's also really nice is, if you're noticing, the power delivery, nice and smooth, and just the refinement, just such a creamy engine overall.
Absolutely, it just serves you a healthy, relentless surge of torque all throughout the rev range. I mean, it's maxing its revs out at 6,800 RPM. And boy, oh boy, does it build speed. It's just something else, man.
Exactly, there's just so much pace, and what complements the whole thing is the 8-speed automatic. I mean, it's a torque converter, but it just feels, and I mean, it is so responsive.
Absolutely, this engine and gearbox combination is, I think, really the highlight of this car. And now, speaking of highlight, I think now that we're on a racetrack, I can see some of the weaknesses of this car from behind the wheel as well. Now, one of them being that the brakes, now don't get me wrong, these are good brakes for the road, but on this racetrack, they are feeling a bit inadequate for the sheer performance. I mean, you just think about it and this car is reaching some silly speeds, but then when you have to slow down, you realize that, you know, that braking bite is somewhat missing. The other area where I think this car needed some improvement was, you know, the suspension. Now, it is stiff, it's properly stiffly set up for the road. But when you are driving on this track, you know, you can feel the weight transfer left to right. It does feel quite heavy, not very agile. And even the steering, I mean, I would have, you know, being a BMW, you start expecting that razor sharp M levels of feedback from the steering, but honestly, it just feels a bit inert and a bit lacking, especially in this environment.
Yeah, when you're going from tight corners, the weight, like you said, and just, you know, there's that understeer. I mean, it's 4-wheel drive, but it's basically set up for understeers, which I think out on a track is where it struggles.
Nevertheless, it's a great car for the street. It's a really fast BMW, it's a fast 3 Series. But if you are someone who would prefer taking your 3 Series on the racetrack and setting those lap times, you'd probably want to upgrade its suspension and other components.
Yeah, you say that, you know, there's a lot of tuning potential, and that's what a lot of M340i owners do, because that's just so much that the engine allows, you know, right from ECU remaps, obviously suspension upgrades, there's exhaust upgrades, anything to get this car a bit more focused and a bit more hardcore for the track. But the thing is, and which is quite funny, that if you just spend the amount of money that you have to pay extra for the C43, you can make this car into something completely different. I mean, it's already so close, but when you spend that extra 20 something lakhs.
Yeah.
This car is going to be something else.
And speaking of which, let's just jump into the C43 and see what that's like on a racetrack. Jay, jumping into the C43 AMG just after the M340i, doesn't this feel like a proper baby AMG?
It does. I mean, it's just so much more driver focused, and it has that, you know, hardcore AMG feel that the M340i just doesn't.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel like an M car. This feels like an AMG.
Yeah, that feels like a quick 3 Series, but this one feels like a slightly detuned version of a proper hardcore AMG.
Definitely. I mean, a lot more pointy. The change of direction is nice and sharp as well. And the one thing that it does better than the 340i is the weight management. You don't feel the heft into corners. It feels like a more agile car overall.
That's because of the rear wheel steering. That's making it feel so agile and so sharp. You know, when I was chasing you some time ago, this just felt so chuckable. It felt like a A45 instead of a large sedan.
Exactly. It just turns just so well. And the one thing that I absolutely like, and that's a lot more noticeable, the braking. The brake bite is just so strong and reassuring.
Yeah.
And compared to the 340i, it is exceptional.
Absolutely. And one more thing that I think needs attention, that's the engine and gearbox combination.
Yeah.
I think this one is the more responsive car to start with.
Yeah.
But of course, it doesn't have the relentless torque like the 340i.
Off the line, it is nice and quick, but yeah, it does lose out on that top end.
Yeah. But yeah, the confidence that the braking gives and even the steering, it feels razor sharp, isn't it?
It really is nice and responsive and quite precise as well. And unlike the 340i, that has a good amount of understeer, this one is a little bit better controlled. Of course, it's not the best either, but out of the two, it feels a lot more chuckable. I think a lot of that has to do with that rear wheel steering.
Absolutely.
It just turns on its axis better.
Yeah.
And that engine then, even though it's a 2-liter 4-cylinder, which is down compared to the 340i, I mean, that's AMG sound. I'll always miss a V8, that burble you get, that brash exhaust. This doesn't have that. Yes, it is raspy, it has the pops and bangs, but yeah, doesn't match up to those with a bigger engine.
And the problem with these smaller engines is that you can feel that they are working really hard. They're giving it their all to deliver the performance that they are giving you.
But what I like, I mean, performance is all well and good, but what I really like also is the interior. I mean, it does feel like an expensive car.
Yeah. And it is an expensive car. I mean, it's 27 lakh rupees more expensive than an M340i. And yes, sitting inside the screens and, you know, the carbon fiber sort of textures and the materials, they do make you feel a bit special. And the red seat belts, of course. How can you miss that?
And one thing I'd like to touch on are the seats. I mean, these are sporty seats, but they are so comfortable.
Absolutely. I think the M340i seats are a bit harder in terms of the cushioning. These ones, I think they are better.
Yeah.
But I think 27 lakh better. All right, let's do this. I think the C43 will be a bit quicker than the M340i in a drag race.
Just because it has more power.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
We have a racetrack.
I love to prove you wrong, so let's do this. Let's do a drag.
Let's go. As the saying goes, the proof is in the pudding, or in this case, the proof is in the racing. So we line them up on a straight section, and the distance between the start and the finish line is a little over 300 meters. As far as the numbers go, both cars make 500 Nm of max torque, and both have rear-biased all-wheel drive systems with launch control. The Mercedes, however, makes 34 horsepower more than the M340i, but it is also around 60 kilos heavier. This could go either ways. The AMG's launch control system is far easier to engage compared to the M340i's, which is a bit temperamental.
I'm I'm in the less powered car, I know, but this engine is a gem. I really trust it.
Is launch control activating? Tell me that first.
Launch control. Anyway, let's just race.
All the best.
Okay, boys. In
Alright.
3, 2, 1,
That is, he's just there. He's just there. Oh. I don't believe this. Lost by a small margin. He was always there. Launch control engaged. Let me just tell him. Launch control did engage and I was always just there. It's just that little bit of power that you have.
Like they say, it don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning.
Okay, so run 2 and I'm pretty confident this time. I'm counting on your reaction time to be bad, so
Well, that's not gonna happen. You know that.
now that I've put it in his head, I'm pretty sure I will. Alright.
in 3, 2, 1, go.
And he took the lead.
You're gonna say I jumped.
Okay, I was a bit cocky there.
Alright, best of 3, final, whoever wins, wins.
Excuse ready?
Excuse me. I just saw what happened. Alright, final run. Don't be nervous, relax.
All ready? Okay, in 3, 2, 1, go.
Got him! Got him!
What is there?
Got him!
Oh, I'm catching! I'm catching!
Oh no!
Oh my god, that was quick. Do you know who won?
It was a photo finish.
Oh my god, we are gonna need the fire on this one. We have no idea who won.
This was a photo finish worthy of Hollywood, but by a hair's margin, it was the BMW that took the win. After beating the Mercedes 2 out of 3 times in a drag race, it was time to find out whether the BMW was as quick in a rolling race as well. With the cars in their sportiest setting and gearbox in full auto mode, we start from 35 kilometers per hour. In 3, 2, 1, go!
It's not even a competition.
I thought they're doing a race and he just wants you to rear up this car.
So the MCT was a bit slow to react off the line, and I think by the time this one realized it had to downshift, you were already off.
Good old torque converter.
Just to be sure, we do one more rolling race.
Try to keep up this time. I'm gonna do 50 for cruising, then slam.
3, 2, 1, go!
What? Oh my god. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's embarrassing. Lost and how. Alright, so rolling acceleration, BMW wins comfortably. Drag race, BMW wins, even though not comfortably, but like you said, winning's winning. What was the dialogue? Inch or a mile. Winning is winning. So yeah, all that's left now, I think, where you can redeem, or you hope you can redeem, is on the track.
Now that we know which is quicker in a straight line, it was time to hand it over to ex-Formula 1 driver Narain Kartikeyan to find out which is quicker around the 3.8 kilometer racetrack. Time for a fast one. Before revealing their lap times, here's what Narain had to say about the M340i.
So the previous generation of these, especially the C3 series, was more on the oversteery side, more I would say suited for the track. The four-wheel drive system is a little bit difficult to drive. There's a lot of understeer. Just feel the mass a little bit, the weight of the cars also. I feel it's pretty shows up on the track.
Of course, there was a lot to love about the M340i.
This has a stonking engine and it's very fast on the straight line. From point A to B, it's going to be very fast.
He was a bit more pleased with the C43.
Linear, power delivery, four-cylinder engine sounds very nice. The AMG C43 has a bit more front end. Less wheel shudder from the front, slightly less neutral. I would say, but it's not a true blown AMG in my opinion. But compared to the 340i, I felt that this was slightly firmer, but maybe more track focused.
The AMG's 4-cylinder 2-litre turbo petrol put up a tough fight against the 6-cylinder BMW. However, at the end of the day, the lap times speak for themselves. And even though the margin is narrow, under similar conditions driven by the same driver, the M340i is quicker around the coast racetrack. So what's the verdict then? Well, the Mercedes C43 AMG is much closer to its AMG cousins in terms of performance and driving dynamics. It is the more handsome car in this comparison, it has the better interior, and it is really well equipped.
That's right, but when it comes to outright performance, lap times, drag races and sheer speed, it is the M340i that comes out on top.
And when it comes to value for money, the M340i offers the maximum bang for your buck and still remains the one to beat.